Hey everyone, Sirturmund here again. And today, for the new year, I have a very special video for you all. First of all, I want to say Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you so much for watching our videos and supporting us over the past year. In 2024, we pretty much doubled our subscription count, right? We went to less than 1,000 subscribers to almost 2,500, and I really appreciate that. Let's make 2025 even better. Maybe we get to a 5,000. Maybe we double the subscriber count again, right? But to celebrate, as you all know, I just finished showcasing all the OP09 leaders, and it was really fun. Obviously, like even finishing up with Buggy. I didn't know it was gonna be that fun, but like those Buggy games were freaking crazy. So we finished showcasing all the OP09 leaders. So now it's time. I'm a little bit late with it, but it's time for me to finally open some OP09 product. So today's video to kick off the new year is going to be opening 3 boxes. Usually I always buy 2 boxes of and usually just buy singles for the rest, but because it's around Christmas time and New Year's, right, I figured I'd splurge myself, get these extra bots. I'm lucky to live close enough to a One Piece official store, so I'm able to get them at retail price, which was pretty nice, right? So I got this for $115 each, which was really nice. And at the end of the video, we're also going to do an OP09 tier list, right? So instead of splitting it into 2 videos that we usually do, I'm just gonna put them into one long video today where we do 3 box openings and then the tier list at the end. So if you're just interested in my tier list or my opinion on the OP9 meta, you can skip ahead. I'll have that, obviously, the I guess the timestamps, I have that in the description below and also in the video. But anyways, so that's what we're gonna do. OP9 boxes. And as always, we're just gonna get right to it, to be honest. Not gonna spend much time. All of these are sealed. Hopefully we get one of these special manga cards. So we'll see how it goes first. So let's start with the first box right here. All right, so here we go. We have the first box of OP9 of the 3 that I have. Fresh box right here. And we'll go ahead and get started right away. Again, usually I always do 2 boxes just because I like opening with you guys on the channel. But for the most part, I'm a big proponent of just buying singles, right? If you're just playing this game, you just kind of be competitive and you just obviously just whatever, it's usually always better to just buy singles, right? Not buy boxes. But this is a special set, right? 2nd anniversary set. So we gotta try it out. And maybe we get lucky with some of these special cards that we get on the 2nd anniversary. And the other benefit of OP09 boxes is that we got the introduction of 2 very powerful leaders, right? Blackbeard and Shanks. And most of their support can all be found right here in OP09. So in the OP9 boxes. So it ends up kind of being like a decent, not a bad idea to open boxes of this product, because if you open 2 or 3 boxes, you should be able to get pretty much all the uncommon, commons, and rares for Shanks and Blackbeard. And then all you have to do is just probably buy some of the secret rares, not secret rares, right? Super rares, right? That are part of those decks, right? So far, pretty slow opening here, right? I mean, we only 3 packs in, not expecting us to hit it out of the park right away. Now, as those of you who have been watching me for a while now know that I never have any luck with this box. I say that. We have hit some really good things, right? And our last box opening. Oh, okay. So we got a special card here already, right? So this is our first old card that we're hitting. And this is going to be the Rocinante. Now, the Rocinante obviously is not the most valuable of these special cards. There's that Eke Nami, that's the most valuable one. But I like Rocinante. It's a decent card. All right, people play it on Bonnie sometimes. I like it. Ooh, this is kind of nice. So at least we hit a special, right? So a special, a little bit different than just a regular altar. And we started off really well, in my opinion. But like I was saying, I mean, I haven't been unlucky per se. Like I have hit some pretty good things. So my last opening where we did the PRB boxes, we did hit the Altar Sanji leader. And we have hit a couple other, like we have hit the special 5 cuts Robin back in the day when that came out. But we have never hit, I have never hit a single manga, guys. In the every set since OP01, every set I have opened up at least 2 boxes, and I have gotten so many other packs from like locals or from regionals or treasure cups, and I have never opened a manga yet, right? So, maybe today is gonna be the day. We'll see. We obviously know that these mangas are very special, and we'll go from there. I'm actually not very familiar with how the ratio works for these boxes for this set, so I'm guessing that because we have the special, I don't know if it means that we're gonna have a leader pack, an altar leader bots, or it's just gonna be just regular altars. Like maybe this takes the spot of an old leader. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not very familiar. I know there's people out there that know like every bots to like their heart and what it might come with it. So yeah, but again, it's been a very fun set, right? I mean, I think OP09 is probably one of the peaks of the One Piece card game so far. To be fair, I did feel like OP08 was also very fun, but I feel OP09, there's so many varieties of leaders that are actually good. And you're gonna see that when we talk about my tier list later in this video. Like so many leaders, right? Like look at this Sanji, right? This Sanji makes purple Luffy really good, right? Obviously the one that makes really good is the card that we opened earlier, the Gungam Giant. But like the Sanji is really good for those purple Luffy leaders, both with the black purple Luffy, the red purple Luffy, and actually the regular purple Luffy. So now we have like all these leaders that are actually very playable and actually very competitive, and it has led itself to a very good OP09 meta. Like I feel like if you're looking to get into this game, now is a really good time to get into it because you can almost play everything. And if you're really good at the deck and you're very familiar with it, I feel like you can do well, right? Like obviously some decks are gonna be a lot harder to win with than others. Like if I'm playing something like Buggy, like we showcased over the past few days, you're not gonna probably win all your games, right? But if you know how to pilot that deck well, it can still feel a little bit competitive. And obviously you have stuff like that. So we only talk about the off meta. But if you're talking about like the actual meta decks, you have stuff like Shanks that's meta right now. You have Blackbeard, you have the Flamingo, you have Bonnet that can still win games. You have Lucy that can still win tournaments. Black Yellow Luffy is winning tournaments still in OP09. And it's like such a variety, such a varied meta, right? Purple Luffy. We didn't even talk about all the Luffy leaders. That is like it feels wide open. And if you're expecting a lot of like Dolphins, you can play stuff like Enel. And if you dodge all the loop or the if you dodge all like the Blackbeards, you end up doing really well with Enel. Like it feels really good. It feels really good. Bello Betty is doing well, right? Like, there we go. So we get the secret. So these are 2 hits, I think, from this bot. I don't know if there will be a third one. I think it might just be a 2-hit bots because we hit the special card. So we have the Rocinante and we have the secret Luffy. So the new 9-drop secret Luffy that when you play him, you do -1 or more done to work with our black purple Luffy leader. And you're able to give him rush and also draw a card, which is pretty nice, right? It's a really good it's a really good card as a finisher. I think it's a lot better obviously in purple Luffy than it is on the black purple Luffy. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, it's a really good meta. Like I think honestly, what the amount that I've been playing on OP09, I feel really good, and I'm excited to go to nationals. I'm going to nationals. Well, I'm going to the last chance qualifier this weekend. I'm gonna try to make it to the main day on Saturday, and I'm super excited because I feel like it's gonna be like a wide open meta. And I'm gonna be running into a lot of different things. So here's our Dawn, right? Like there's gonna be a lot of different things that could actually be very fun to go against. And I'm excited to see. Obviously, you're gonna have your usual suspects. You're gonna have a lot of Doflamingos. You're gonna have a lot of Shanks, a lot of Blackbeard. But I think again, a lot of Lucy's. I think Lucy's really good in the meta. I think Black Yellow Luffy can actually be really good as well. Purple Luffy is really good. Like I've seen people try out Nami, people trying out Nail, people doing Smoker. There's a lot of cool things out there that you can play, and that always makes the meta more and more exciting, and that's pretty good. But anyways, I'm just opening these packs here, like barely talking about the cards. So let's talk a little about like some of the archetypes that we're seeing, right? Like I mean, there's the second Dawn right here. Like we talked about obviously every one of the leaders as we showcased them over the past 2 to 3 weeks now. We started off with Robin, and I think Robin is still very good. I would love Robin to be better, but I think actually she's a lot better than people give it credit for if people are not careful of how to play around her. Like that Banish, I think is a very powerful keyword, and it's like a low commitment keyword. Like you're able to just attack with her for 5, and the opponent has to give you a 1k, or they lose a card anyway. So like regardless, they're kind of losing a card, right? They're either losing a life that doesn't go to their hand, or they're losing a card from their hand, which can be really good, right? So yeah, the Frank is so good as well. This Frank is amazing, man. So like Robin is an interesting leader, and we get a lot of cool cards from Robin here. I think that 6 cost Nickel Robin is one of the cards that you want to pull from these packs, because that card can be splashed in so many yellow decks. Like you can literally splash her in almost any yellow deck and be able to just banish one of the opponent's cards, right, from their life. So Yeah, there we go. Yeah, right. Nico Robin right here. Like this, she's not even an SR. She's just a rare. So like she's one of the cards that you want to pull. You know, it's so good, right? Then we have Shanks, right? We talked about Shanks, and Ben Beckon is really good in the Shanks decks when you get to go for odds, or even when you're going events and you rather play that than play like a Rayleigh, since Ben Beckham actually trashes instead of KOs, right? So Shanks is really good as well. Really good new archetype that we're seeing into this game. And I think it's gonna be an archetype that you're gonna see lasting for a long time because it's just like this general kind of control archetype that just generally does well against so many leaders. Like it kind of has like an even spread against almost every leader. And a deck like that feels really good because it lets people kind of do like a more skill gap difference. So I really like Shanks a lot. We showcase Lim, and I think Lim is actually super underrated. But Lim gets better with OP10, right? And the cards that we have from OP10. So I don't think it's worth it to play her just yet, but at least it's worth. Oh, so it is a 3-hit leader. A three-hit leader. At 3-hit bots. We get the old top Frankie. We were just talking about how good this card is when we pulled the regular one just a little bit ago. Oh, that's pretty good. This is pretty good. Oh my goodness, this Frankie is so good, especially obviously when you're playing black, yeah, black purple Luffy, because you just his own playability is pretty much for free. Like he's such a good blocker, and you can bring him back with your Moriat, and it's so good. Like so, this is the 3 hits. Right? Usually boxes are gonna be 2 or 3 hits, and this was our 3 hits here, 2 alt tarts, and then 1 secret card. So cannot complain there, right? So Shank's really good. Lim obviously gonna get better. I think Lim is really fun. I think Lim is literally like probably your best ramp leader that we have in the game right now. Because how little her ability costs when we get, and actually I want to hit this, right? Like I want to hit this. Like we were just talking about like by buying these boxes you can pretty much build your Blackbeard and your Shanks deck. I need to hit 4 Blackbeards and 4 Shanks, right? So this is one, so that's I guess $2 less I have to spend buying it from somebody else later. So, but yeah, so Lynn is really good. I think she's like one of the best one of the best ramp leaders in the game, or honestly, maybe the best. So I'm excited to see what happens with her, how much better she gets as the game goes on, with the additional support that we get from OP10. So this is the end of this first box, right? So we just finished the last pack here. Before we talk about the other 3 leaders that came out in this set, let's just get the other bots here out of the way. But yeah, so the bots is gone. Here's the 3 hits from that first bot. So I think it's a good start. I think it's a very good start. I mean, obviously we didn't hit like something like a manga, but Frankie, Ultra Frankie is really good. Very playable card, right? Luffy, obviously, people play this card. Though Rocinante is not as playable, but anytime you hit a special card, I think you're still in a good position, right? Like the special cards are technically a little bit rarer than some other cards, so I'm happy about that. So let me cut up in the other bots and come back right away. All right, so here's that second box now, right? So we're gonna be opening up the second box right here, and let's just get started right away. Let me just open this up, do the little flip, and let's get going. So yeah, so I talked about the first 3 leaders, obviously, that we showcase in the cat channel from OP09. And then you have, obviously, the deck that everybody's gonna love to hate, which is gonna be Blackbeard, like full archetype that you can literally just build from OP09 cards. And it's an archetype that I feel like right now it's not anything crazy in the global meta, because I think people in the West tend to play more aggressive, right? People in the West, why can I not open this pack? Now, people in the West tend to play more aggressive, so you have a lot more Doflamingos, which is kind of preying on the Blackbeard. But I think once the Doflamingo popularity dies down, once people can adjust more to the meta and start playing more stuff like Lucy, more stuff like Blackbeard Luffy, that's when Blackbeard's gonna come back and be like, hey, you forgot that I'm a deck, right? Like, it's a deck that has very polarizing matchups, but I think he ends up doing really well in the hands of really good pilots. So like you're gonna see Blackbeard being part of this game for a long time as well. Like that's what I like about OP09. Like I feel like it really made a big impact in the meta, right? Like it's like think about OP08. How many leaders from okay, OP09. Think about how many leaders from OP08. Well, I'm getting myself confused. Think about how many leaders from OP08 are actually seeing play, right? Like we have some cool leaders, but like none of them are really like, hey, top tier decks, right? Like top tier leaders. OP09 came in and was like, hey, I'm bringing you 2 two top tier leaders right away with Shanks and Blackbeard, and I'm bringing you other leaders that might not be top tier but are pretty good, and I'm bringing you a bunch of cards that make other decks even more good as well, right? With Purple Luffy that we kept talking about. So like OP09 is such a defining set because of that, and Blackbeard is one of those reasons why. Like Blackbeard is gonna be around for a very long time in OP09 in One Piece card game. People are probably gonna get tired of this deck because of how hard it can beat up on some decks that rely on those on play effects, right? So should be interesting how Blackbeard kind of shakes up the meta. And then the last two leaders, right? Obviously you have Purple Black Luffy, and I think Purple Black Luffy is very underrated. I think it's actually a pretty good deck. Obviously, the weakness is that 4-life leader, as always. But and I like how every time I'm talking to them, I'm pulling them, right? But like this leader's effect and the cards that he has, the support that he has with purple straw hats is just so good. And I feel like Bandai is gonna keep releasing a lot of purple support for straw hats because that seems to be like the new straw hat color compared to like how red used to be like that. That we're gonna keep seeing a lot of those cards, and it's gonna be interesting to see just how much powerful the deck continues getting. And not only that, but not only do straw hat cards make that deck better, but also any general good black cards are gonna also make that deck better, right? Because we just get value, right, from Gecko being able to summon them back. The last leader of the new leaders obviously is Buggy, and like I talked about in past 3 videos, like Buggy is good, but he's waiting for that Buggy promo to come out. And even with the Buggy promo, unfortunately, I just don't think that there's enough out there to really make him like top tier, right? But at least it's gonna be better. Like all 6 leaders in this set feel playable, and that's one of the reasons that I really like OP09 as a whole. But so I'm excited. I'm excited to play more OP09. I'm actually sad that there's not enough major tournaments in OP09, right? Like we have nationals, but then after nationals, like we have what treasure cups in February, but we don't have like any regionals just yet. Until probably like March. Okay, so here's the first hit. It's the first hit of this box, and it's gonna be our secret Gold Roger. And I do want to pull at least one Gold Roger, so I'm glad that I didn't pull just Luffy's, that I actually got one Gold Roger. Because a lot of Shanks lists are gonna be playing this Roger as a 1 or maybe 2 at most, right? So being able to have at least one at least gives me that flexibility of actually being able to play him. But yeah, so we don't really have any regionals, right? We have like nationals, and we have like some treasure cups, like online treasure cups in February. So I'm kind of sad that we don't get to see even more of like this OP09 meta, right? Aside from probably more smaller community tournaments that people might be running. So, but yeah, it's a good meta. OP10, I kind of looked ahead a little bit. Obviously, like I usually try to just focus on the global meta, but I looked ahead a little bit, and OP10 seems pretty good as well, right? Like Blackbeard gets better with the new Kusan card, but like it doesn't seem like the OP10 leaders are making as much of an impact as the OP09 leaders are making. So maybe regardless, by OP10, we still find ourselves playing Shanks, Blackbeard, Dolphy, you know, just because again the meta hasn't been changed as much, right? So Ben Beckham. So I'm getting all the SRs for like I'm getting like the small guys SRs, right? Like I'm getting the Shanks, I'm getting the Shanks, I'm getting the Sanjis, but I'm not getting the Blackbeards, and I'm not getting the Tenka Shanks, which is really what I need, right? So another leader pack. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Come on, bots. Come on. We started well. You gotta give me more. You gotta give me more, man. You know, the day that I hit a manga with you guys here on the channel, it's gonna be something else entirely, right? Yeah, we also pulling all the Frankies. So I'm pretty sure I'm pulling everything that I need for like Purple Luffy. Everything that I need to play Purple Luffy, I'm pretty much pulling it right now. Or even to play like Black Purple Luffy as well. Which honestly, again, I think Black Purple Luffy is actually pretty cool. And I wouldn't mind bringing it to like a locals or stuff like that, right? You know what's something that I'm excited to try out as well? Technically, I guess this Sabo you don't really play it much. But we get a lot of new revolutionary cards, right? With this set that go to yellow. I'm looking forward to trying out Bello Betty. And I'm also looking forward to trying out like red, yellow Sabo as well. So look for those 2 leaders to come here on the channel over the next few weeks, right? I have a list of like leaders that I want to try now that I'm done. Let me finish my train of thought real quick. I have a list of leaders that I'm gonna be trying over the next month. But if there's any particular leaders that you guys want us to showcase for OP09 here in January, make sure to let me know. Make sure to let me know. And I'll probably add it to my list, so try to consider, right? Yeah. So we just okay, cool. Altar teach, right? Altar teach. Now there's two other better altar versions of this, right? Like you have the wanted poster and you have the manga, but I'm not complaining. Again, we need these teaches. So this is technically my second teach, right? This is my second teach. And I need to have two more of those to be able to build my Blackbeard. Now, I'm the type of person, by the way, guys, that doesn't really play with alt arts. So like if I get regular arts of teach, I'm just gonna play with them, right? And I just probably sell my altar. Let me put this card aside because I wanna talk a little bit about this card in a second. But yeah, so I'm usually the type of person that doesn't actually play with alt art, so I'm done, but I need to put it. If I don't actually have the 4 copies of the regular SR teach, then I'll just play that one. But if I do pull the 4th, okay, there we go. So now we just need one more, right? We just need one more here. We'll put this one on the side. We need one more, and we'll have our full set of teaches, and we will need 2 more to have our full set of just regular altar teaches. So I don't play with alt arts. So for me, alt arts are more like either I'm selling them, or I'm like what? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, I mean, that's the bots. That's the bots. Those are our 3 hits right there. Those are our 3 hits right there. Altar Leader Shanks. Oh my goodness. What can I say? What can I say? What a hit. Oh, I love it. 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 Oh man. Okay. Oh, you know what? 2 boxes. 2 boxes the same. I'm happy. 2 bots the same so far, and I'm very happy here. I could not complain. But yeah, all cards are just not for me, guys. I just want to play my cards regardless of whether they're all cards or not. So I just need to make sure I get enough copies of this teach, right? So I'm actually, you know what I'll do? I'll probably look up the cost of all of this. I still don't think I made, like, the thing with OP09 that I have saw in TCG Player is that, like, the cards are actually, the singles are not going for that much. Like, for you to quote unquote get your money back from the boxes, you really have to hit the Nami, right? Like the Egghead Nami special. You really have to hit one of these mangas. So, you know, again, I'm not here to get my money back for these boxes. But hey, you know, some extra chump change to recoup some of the costs here. I wouldn't mind that either. But anyways, we have 2 less packs in this box, but we know we're not gonna hit anything else because we really have our 3 hits here right in front of us. So let's just finish up the box, and then we'll open up the next one. And as I open up the next one, I want to take a little bit of time to talk about this ridiculous card that you guys have here called Gum Giant, right? And I'm sure some of you guys agree with me that it's a freaking crazy card. So yeah, so that's the box. So box number 2 is gone. We have 1 more box here. So let's open up the shrink wrap and let's get right to it. All right, so we have the next box right here, but just again, summary: first box, second box, right? So far we're doing really good in my opinion. We're gonna put this, scoot this over to the side because I want to put whichever ones we get kind of like in the frame, right? So whichever other ones we get, we can just put them more on the frame for you guys to see. So unfortunately, Blackbeard, you're gonna stay right here, right? That gives us enough spots here for 3 hits if we get the 3 hits, right? Maybe let's put the Shanks in a better spot where we can see Shanks a little bit better, right? That's the shining jewel so far. But anyways, so 3rd box here, and again, I'll leave the Gum Giant here because we gotta talk about this card just a little bit, and we're gonna get right to it. So, you know what's funny? We have hit 2 regular SRs of Peach and 1 Altar. We have yet to hit a single 10-drop chance. So it's like the game is telling me you gotta play Blackbeard, right? Like if you want to build a deck for OP9, you're gonna play Blackbeard, right? So Koala is the one revolutionary card that you're actually gonna play more in Bello Betty. You also could potentially play her in Regular Sabo. So again, look forward to those videos because I'm actually very excited to kind of try her out and give her a shot. So anyways, before I hit another old card here, right, and we start hitting our other hits on this last pot, let's talk about Gungam Giant. This is probably one of the best cards, right? One of, if not the best card of OP09, to be honest. Like, is a ridiculous card that's gonna enable so many of these purple straw hat decks, right? So red purple Luffy, black purple Luffy, regular purple Luffy, and you can even use it on like Robin and any future purple straw hat leaders that Bandai releases for us. It's such a ridiculous card because for one Dawn, you get so much value. And the downside of it, of being like a -2 Dawn, once you get to your 10 Dawn turn, that's not really a downside. That's not really a downside because you just get right back to 10 the next turn. So for one Dawn, you're literally like going up by 4k and you get to cycle a card from your hand that might not have counter to draw 2 other cards. This card alone is the reason that you're seeing all these purple Luffy leaders come back into the meta. Like, this card just carries a lot of this purple deck because it's something that you have to always respect when you're attacking into them, especially as you get to the late game and you're trying to finish the game. So I do think it's a well-designed card, but it's a card that, again, it's going to probably be a main staple of this game. And that's our first hit, right? So we got a second Gold Roger. It's a card that's going to be a main staple of this game for a very, very, very long time. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave it at, right? Like, it's just a crazy good card. So we got our second Roger, which, again, very useful to have second Roger, because some decks do run him as a 2-of. But again, I'm fine with just sometimes running as a 1-of. Like, I feel like people play around Roger good enough that you're never actually gonna use him as often as you might expect. So, but anyways, yeah. Oh man. So we got our secret there, right? So we got our secret that almost every bot has. Let's see if this is gonna be a 2-hit or a 3-hit bot. We got 2 3-hit bots so far, including a SP and an Ultra Leader. So again, cannot be too complaining about it. You know what's crazy? I have one of my friends from locals here in New Jersey that actually has hit 2 manga teach so far. It's crazy. They literally hit it. We went to the 2nd anniversary tournament at one of our locals, and they won first place. And one of the winner packs was manga teach. Like, imagine how good that feels, winning the tournament and also getting a teach from your winning packs. Imagine how bad it would feel if it went to like the 2nd place player or something like that, right? Sometimes the card game gods just work in your favor by just winning and giving you that. So that was his 2nd one. He pulled another one in a pre-release pack, right? So like, so jealous, but hey, also happy at the same time for the boys, right? We're always happy when the boys pull the good stuff. So anyways, one last bot to potentially get our first manga ever. And nothing really there yet. Now, this is not an old card, but I'm gonna talk about how good this crocodile card is, by the way. If Buggy ever gets more support, like, that crocodile card is something to keep an eye out. If we get more and even better, like, cross guild targets, or even honestly Barricade Works blue cards, it can be a really, really good card. Mihawk is also really good, and you're gonna be able to cheat out the Mihawk with the promo Buggy whenever that releases here in the West. So kind of looking forward. I wonder if they're gonna just do it as a regional pack in March or something else to let us actually get that Buggy into the meta. So limb. So I think that's like the 4th limb that we see. Come on, let me get at least another teach so that I can have my full play set and I can just, maybe actually play Blackbeard during the LCQ this Friday. We get the Altar Sanji instead. All right. Okay, I'll take it. Sanji's a really good card, splashable in a lot of purple decks, right? Because it's a rush that can rest a blocker as well. So you get to play it on purple Luffy, you get to play it on like black purple Luffy as well. It's a really good like utility target. So we get Sanji and we get Frankie. So we got 2 of this purple straw hats here showing face. Now we still have, I guess, a little bit less than half the bots. So there's still plenty of chances for one more hit. One more hit, guys. Come on, come on, come on, game. Come on. Come on. Okay, Ben Beckham. Man, we got like every Shanks card. It's set for the black, except for the 10 cut Shanks. I'm actually gonna have to order a playset of Shanks in TCG Player. I mean, luckily they're not expensive, right? Luckily they're not expensive. So, and that's what we're saying. Like the singles don't seem to be too expensive here for OP09. So unless you're like, unless you have the disposable income, or unless you're just doing this for fun, like I do here for the channel for you guys, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend opening boxes, right? I don't recommend opening boxes. Just buy singles, build the deck that you want to do, and just go from there. Remember though, at the end of this third box, we will do a tier list, right? And just make a full video out of this. So make sure that you keep, oh, there we go. So that's our third hit. We get the limb. All right. All right. You know, some people might not be too excited about this, but again, I think Lim is actually like a really fun leader. Like she's actually, what I would say, like, again, in my opinion, the best ramp leader in the game, because you're ramping and also being able to develop a character at the same time, right? So I'm not unhappy about this. This is pretty good. So we get Lim, we get Shanks, and we get the SP. So these are our 9 hits from 3 boxes right here. Guys, again, I'm happy. Could I be happier? Absolutely, right? We're still searching. We're still searching for the first manga card, guys. Still searching for the first manga card. If somebody ever tells you that it's easy to hit mangas, don't trust them. We're still looking for the first manga card, but we at least didn't get like really low. I guess we didn't get like really bad boxes, right? Like I think I got most of the things that I wanted. Okay, you know what? I'll be happy if I get my last teach here. That's all I'm looking for now. If I get my last teach in this last 4 packs, I'll be a happy man. Because if I get the last teach, I'm pretty sure I have pulled every other card that you need for Blackbeard. I haven't been keeping track, but with 3 boxes, I'm pretty sure I pulled like all 4 Jesus Burgess and everything else. It's just the teaches. It's just the teaches that I need. Like that's the Banagher. So if I can pull that last teach, I think we'll be good. We can at least build the full Blackbeard deck and put ourselves in a decent spot. Okay, Lim. All right. Oh my goodness. 2 packs. 2 packs and a dream, guys. 2 packs and a dream. Let's see. Come on, teach, leader pack, buggy. Oh my goodness. I guess it's fitting that on the leader pack you get both buggies, right? This Tenko's buggy is so freaking funny, right? Make sure you watch that buggy gameplay that I did to see us just dunking on people. Last pack of the box, guys. Do we get the 4th teach? Do we get the 4th teach, or are we stuck having to buy one of it? No. Okay. You know what? Whatever. This is the boxes, right? So 3 boxes of OP09. We got Corazon, Luffy, Frank in the first box, Limp, Sanji, Roger on the third box, and then Shanks, Ultra Blackbeard, and another Roger on that second box. So I'm happy. I hope you guys were happy watching me and hearing me ramble and talk about all this stuff. So again, let's jump straight to the tier list and just talk briefly about where I think each leader is positioned in the current meta. All right, so let's talk about my tier list now for the OP09 meta. Now, usually, you know, I sit with you all here and we actually put every leader into the tier list as we talk about each one of them. But because we're kind of combining this with the other video, obviously with the card opening video, I don't want to make this video, you know, be over an hour long. So we kind of already did all the pre-work for you all, and I'm just gonna go through them and kind of my thoughts on each of the tiers here. I want to kind of put each leader. Now, only the first 3 tiers are also in order, in my opinion. Everything else from C tier and below, I kind of just threw that randomly in there. So you don't have to mind the order where, you know, the leaders are in C tier. Just the order here is what I feel like, I guess, are the best leaders in order, in my opinion, into the current meta. Now, the way that I like to do my tier list is that I mean, you know, you do have like A, B, C tiers, whatever. But how I define like each of the tiers is like S is like the meta defining index. Like it's the leaders that I expect are gonna be over 50% of your meta share on your treasure cups and regionals and nationals, right? So these are like your meta defining decks where like any deck that you're playing, you need to think about how do I play around this? How do I play against these three other decks? And you should be expecting to hit into mirrors. And these are the decks that I expect to be winning multiple tournaments as well, right? Your tier A is the event winners. These decks are just a little bit below S tier, but they're still good enough that they can win tournaments, right? So these are the decks like Lucy, Black Yellow Luffy that like on the really good pilots, Blackbeard can win tournaments, but because they're harder to play, they might not actually win as many tournaments or be as represented as some of those S tier decks right here. Then B tier are decks that are still really, really good, and you're gonna see them on the top 16, top 8, but maybe they just fall a little bit short to actually be able to win the whole thing. Then you have competitive C tier that again decks that you're gonna see in tournaments that people might actually bring, and they might, you know, go X and 3 or something, but not be good enough to actually make it to the top cuts. And then you have D leave at locals, E for just fun, and F for like don't even bother to play these leaders, not even for fun, to be honest. So that's how I break it down. So let's talk about each leader here. Now, going from the top, these are what I consider the meta defining decks in the current meta, right? And it's not surprising if you've been kind of following at all like the previous treasure cups or tournaments like that Eggman has hosted or quiz tournaments around the scenes of how powerful these decks are, right? So those three leaders are Doflamingo, Purple Luffy, and Red Shanks. Now, Doflamingo doesn't change at all from what he used to look like, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more just to, since we're going to just go like tier at a time, we're just going to zoom in and just kind of talk about that a little bit more. Now, Doflamingo doesn't really change at all, right? From what we saw in OP08. It's pretty much the same list after we got those new cards from the starter deck. And this deck is like your best deck. I wouldn't say it's the best deck in the format like unanimously, but it's the deck that you're going to see most represented. And it's really going to define your meta. Like every deck has to think about, you're going to go against, in a 10-round tournament, you're probably going to go against Doflamingo 3-4 times, right? Like you have to be prepared to deal with this Doflamingo player and know how to do the mirror if you are planning to play himself. Purple Luffy just got so many good tools now with the new Straw Hat Purple cards that we got in this set, especially with the new event, the Gungam Giant that we talked about in this video, just being such a nuts card that can do a lot of aggression similar to to Dofi. You kind of end up with a very aggressive deck that can actually play some pretty big bombs to actually put even more pressure into the opponent. And then, of course, we have Shanks, one of the two new leaders that kind of right away shoot up to this S8 tier together with Blackbeard. And Shanks, I think it's just a fan favorite, first of all. So it's why it's going to be very represented. But also the cool thing about Shanks is that every matchup feels winnable. It feels like Shanks has like a pretty even spread against almost every leader in the meta, which makes him very good as like a deck to pick up and just try to like quote unquote skill gap your opponent into. And this is again what I consider the three decks that I'm like, if I like, I'm looking to either play, or if I'm not playing them, I'm looking to how do I beat these three decks, because I'm gonna run into them for 50% of the rounds that I'm gonna play in any tournament, 50% or more, to be honest. Like these decks are gonna be what you're gonna run into a lot, and for very good reason, because they're very, very good decks. Then for the event winners, we have Rob Lucy, Blackbeard, Black Yellow Luffy. Now I'm gonna talk about these three decks first, because I feel these three decks are kind of similar in a way, right? Obviously they're all three black decks to begin with, but like I feel like these decks are decks that I guess let's say top players gravitate to, right? Like especially Black Yellow Luffy, and I think the same is gonna be with Blackbeard. These are decks that are very hard to learn and very hard to pilot, but in the hands of like really good players, you know, they are gonna be able to just win tournaments, and that's why they're here as event winners. Like obviously we know that Clyde won nationals earlier this year, the first nationals, right, in September, using Black Yellow Luffy. Like those are the type of players or caliber players that you should expect in these decks, and just because of that, because of that skill expression, they're gonna overperform compared to what you just have here with the event toppers. Lucy, I think, is also a hard deck to play in my opinion. I know people just say, oh, you know, you're just playing A-Cost Moria, which is true. A-Cost Moria makes it really easy, but there's a lot of decision making with Lucy as well that makes it kind of in the similar tier as Blackbeard and Black Yellow Luffy. And the benefit of Lucy and Black Yellow Luffy is that I think they have good matchups into Dofi. So like that's why these decks could be sleepers because you already have good matchups here. Your Lucy can do really well by removing the opponent's war on the Luffy, and he ends up being really decent. Now Blackbeard obviously does really bad versus Doffy, but he can do really well against everything else in these two tiers, and that's why you end up seeing the Blackbeard here. Now the other two in this tier are gonna be Bonnie, and then this honestly might be me being biased with the black purple Luffy. Bonnie, very good staple, right? I think under the hands of good players, she can still do very well. She's not gonna be as dominating as she was last meta. Unfortunately, Green is just in a really bad spot. If you look at this list, like Green is the only leader among these top three tiers, right? Like Bonnie's the only Green leader amongst the top three tiers here. That kind of tells you the state of Green at the moment. But I think Bonnie can do really well in the hands of decent players, and I expect her to be able to steal some tournaments here and there. Now, Black Purple Luffy. I think again, in my opinion, is, and again, this is completely all bias and all personal opinion. I think it's super underrated. I think this deck is really good, right? You get to do the 8-cost Moira shenanigans that Lucy does. Well, not the same level, right? Lucy gets Gecko, Rebecca, expanding Lucy, whatever. But like you get value from having this 8-cost Gecko. You get to like ramp into it, right, and be able to play it first, and then you're able to also play like this 10-cost 5 Luffy. If the opponent is not prepared, or if you get the right hand, like if you get the right hand, this deck can just run away with it. And I think you have enough good matchups, enough decent matchups with this leader that he can actually potentially win some tournaments, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be a surprise factor that might end up doing better than people expect, and that's going to be my hot take, I guess, of this tier list, because I think everybody kind of has the same idea with these leaders here. But I'm going to take the hot take and put this other Luffy up here, and again, just off the back of how crazy Gungam Giant is. On the event toppers, I think Enel is really only here just because of his good matchup versus Doffy. Like Enel feeds on Doffy, so that's why we end up having this Enel here. Just being able to kind of feed that Doffy and be able to, honestly, if you get lucky with your pairings and you end up going into like 6-7 Doffys in a tournament, you can easily make top 8, right, or top 16, top 8, depending on the Swiss, or if it's top cut, whatever. So that's why NL ends up being here as an event topper. Smoker is really good, an alternative to Lucy. A little bit weaker than Lucy in my opinion, but he can have a little bit different matchups. Like I think Smoker actually does it slightly better versus Doffy than Lucy does, but he can do worse against other decks like Purple Luffy, for example. So that's why Smoker ends up in here. I think he's still top a lot of tournaments. Red Purple Luffy, and notice that we have Purple Luffy, Purple Black Luffy, and then Red Purple Luffy kind of back to back to back. It's all because of Gungam Giant and all this have purple package that we got in this set, right? And I think that's what Red Purple Luffy really shines. And it's gonna be another deck that I think is gonna take a lot of people by surprise if you don't know how to play against it, and should be able to do really well in a lot of the tournaments. Bello Betty is not a hot take. It's not a hot take. A lot of people are gonna tell you that Bello Betty is good, and she's been doing really well in the stats on OP09. And I think Bello Betty is really well positioned in the current meta. So regardless if the opponent knows how to play around Bello Betty and like be careful of the triggers for life, I think she's gonna get so much value, and she's gonna surprise people and actually top tournaments. Remember, there was a Bello Betty that topped the regional in Madison, Wisconsin for OP08, and this deck just got even better in OP09. So I think Bello Betty is gonna be a deck that, again, you have to be careful about and can surprise you as well. And then lastly, the little pest that never goes away, and I love you, Nami, but that's how it is in this game, is gonna be Nami. Obviously, Nami still suffers from bad matchup versus Doffy, but if these decks, especially up here, start doing better and better, then you can start playing Nami again to kind of prey on them. So it's kind of like Nami is the predator of the predators, right? So in this food chain, the Black Yellow Luffy starts playing more Black Yellow Luffys and more Lucy's to deal with the top decks here, and then Nami comes in and like, don't forget about me. And that's where Nami kind of comes in here as an event topper that, again, depending on the matchups, if you don't run into a lot of Doffys, you just end up doing well and end up sneaking into the top cut. But it's just not good enough to actually get it to the event with it. So again, these are what I consider the top 13 decks in the current meta game. And if you're like looking to like do really well in like these big tournaments, these are really the decks that I recommend you to play, right? Like, again, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these. Obviously, like the ones in A and S tier are definitely the ones you want to pick if you want to like actually win the tournaments. But even the ones in B, with enough luck or with enough pilot, could potentially get you there, right? It's just going to be a little bit tougher, just those couple of wins that you might need to actually get them. The rest of the tiers, again, just a lot of different, and I go slowly in case anybody wants to like pause and take a screenshot, right? Let's kind of go through it a little bit more quickly. So again, C tiers competitive decks, I think they're still good, but just not good enough to top, right? So Karakuri, I think is really it loses to a lot of decks these days, right? This ones here might be a little bit of a hot take, right? I think Foxy is decent into the meta. I'm biased with Robin. I think Robin is really good. I'm also biased with Sanji. I have a Sanji showcase prepared for you guys starting tomorrow. And I think he's also very decent. And I'm also biased with this red yellow Sabo, kind of similar to Bello Betty. I got some cool support this set, and I think it actually is better than people give it credit for. The other ones here should be no surprise. These are the decks that I think people know that they're kind of competitive, but not like, they're gonna top cup consistently, right? Like Marco and Yamato, I think at the definition of that. Same thing with Sora, same thing with Riju, right? Very good, can be very good into second matchups, which is so bad against Blackbeard, right? The one sneaky one here is this obviously this Odin from EBO1. I'm very high on Odin. Like I think I'm very high on Odin, and I think he's actually a lot better than people give it credit for as well. If you get the right curve, it can be pretty nasty against a lot of decks. Here for the locals, right? So these are just decks again. Pretty cool decks that can be fun and can do some fun stuff, but just not good enough to like be into the competitive tier. Some ones that I want to highlight here. I think Kid can be sneaky, right? Like this red purple Kid, very sneaky. Got some support in this set. I'm actually excited to try it out. It's on my list of leaders to try out. Can be very sneaky if people aren't prepared for it. Uta can do some cool stuff. Lim, we showed it. Lim, I think, has high hopes, but obviously is waiting for those OP10 cards, right? And Buggy is waiting for the promo cards. With the promo, I think Buggy can actually go to this competitive tier, but without the promo, we just have to live in there, right? And everything else, I think, is pretty straightforward. Yeah, pretty straightforward here. Yeah, unfortunately for Server Sanji, it's just a little bit worse than what Duffy can do. So that's why he doesn't go anywhere higher. Rebecca, there's always some coping with Rebecca, but not being able to attack Rebecca and Iceberg can be such a big benefit, right? Same thing with Vegapunk, which I think Vegapunk should be here for fun, right? Yeah, I must be missing it, right? So same thing with Vegapunk, like not being able to attack with your leader can be, oh, there it is. Yeah, not being able to attack with your leader can be really brutal at times. So that's why this guy's kind of just staying D. I know Vegapunk did win at locals, but I don't think that's gonna happen anymore with everything else like Shanks and Blackbeard that can just prey on the poor Vegapunk players, right? So those are the rival locals. These are obviously the rest of this are just for fun, and again, I'm going a little bit slowly, just so that you will see it. I actually think Vivi, there could be a build of Vivi that can actually sneak its way to like a locals type of style. I always like Vivi. I think she's gonna be really cool. Obviously, looking forward to trying out some Fujitora stuff with OP10 around the corner. Same thing with Garp. I think Garp can be really cool with OP10. So we'll see how some of that kind of shapes out here. But everything else, I think, is pretty straightforward. Like most of these leaders are like they do some fun stuff. They do some fun stuff, and maybe it's your favorite character. Maybe you love the East Blue package, Arlen and Akura, and you want to play those. Cool. There was a new card that was just revealed, like a new East Blue Buggy for EBO2 that can actually buff these decks up. So maybe these decks are gonna go up to D or even C when EBO2 comes out. But for now, they're just right here on the A tier. And then honestly, the F tier is kind of mean, but I wouldn't even bother trying to build them or play them. Not even if you tell me that these are actually fun leaders, right? Like this three are probably I was gonna say the worst leaders in the game, but then we do have this promo leaders here. But yeah, King, Shanks and Uta are pretty freaking bad. You can have some fun with Sanji and Rocinante and put it here for E, but it just feels like they don't do enough either, right? Compared to some of the other leaders up here. And obviously, like you have this, we have the two band leaders down here that got replaced with different promo versions of them, and they just trash. Especially this Law is probably one of the worst, if not the worst leader in the game. Like this Law is so nag, so bad. So yeah, so that's the tier list here. Again, you can pause anytime, and probably not gonna link it below. But that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on the OP09 meta, and this again is the big defining picture here of what you want to deal with. So yeah, but anyways, that's it. Those were the box opening, and those were my tier list. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Again, happy New Year. Here's for a better 2025. Tomorrow we're gonna start our showcase of some red sandy right here. So if you want to keep up to date with that, make sure to like the video below and subscribe to us. We post One Piece videos every single day. You can also find us on Twitch, Sirturmund stream every now and then, and you can also find us on Discord and Twitter. The links to those are both in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again tomorrow.